what was the problem that we figured out yesterday? It's the only thing so far that we've come across that Ben Franklin realized was a problem, but we don't know the solution yet. Ethan, scoot your chair and sit up straight, please. Ready to follow along.
Lightning caused many fires.
Lightning caused many fires. Have we seen how Ben Franklin tried to solve this problem yet? No, we haven't. So we're probably going to find it today. Really quickly, tell me one other problem that Ben Franklin came across and a solution he had for it. Mason?
He wanted to swim faster, so he made wooden, flippers.
Very good. He wanted to swim faster as a child, so he developed his solution was to create flippers. What was another problem Ben Franklin discovered and the solution he came up with for it? Zadie, what was the problem?
In the library, he couldn't reach books up really high, so he made a chair to get up there.
Good. His other problem was he had a lot of books. Some of them were really high up. He couldn't reach it. So his solution was to create a chair that also had a ladder built in so that he could reach them. Tell me one more problem and the solution he came up with for it. Victoria,
He came up with
what was the problem? Tell me the problem first. Sometimes this book didn't tell us the problem, but if we know the solution, we can probably figure out the problem, right?
yes.
So what was another problem that he discovered?
When it was winter time, it was the fireplaces weren't heating up the house or the room enough.
So the next problem was in the winter, the fireplaces that people had weren't really heating up the whole house very well, or even the room. So what was the solution he came up with?
Benjamin Franklin came up with the Franklin stove that could warm up cold rooms faster and used a lot less wood than old-fashioned.
So he came up with the Franklin stove that heated rooms faster and used less wood to do it. Okay, there was lots of other problems and solutions that Benjamin Franklin came up with, but those are a few of the ones we read yesterday. I bet we're going to find even more. I bet we're going to see how he solved this problem, and I bet we're going to see other problems and solutions that he came up with. Okay, Kingston, please read next, loud and slow. We are at People All Over Europe and America. Everybody use your finger to follow along, loud and slow. Yeah.
People all over Europe and America.
Louder and slower.
People all over America. People all over Europe and America love Ben's glass harmonic.
Very good. I thought for sure somebody was going to read that as harmonica. But is that the word harmonica, Kingston? No. What is it missing at the beginning to make it harmonica? What is it missing at the beginning of that word? Can you tell me because they can't see?
An H.
An H. Good. Keep going.
This instrument.
Louder and slower.
This instrument could spin wet glass bowls to make music that sounded like it came straight from heaven. Mozart and Beethoven
Louder.
wrote music for it, and was even played at a royal Italian wedding.
At the top, you may have been like, I've never heard of this instrument before. Well, you probably haven't. We don't see it. This is one invention that Ben Franklin had that we really don't use today. But you can see what it looks like at the top of page 232. It was like these glass bowls that spin and have water all over them, and you like touch the bowls in certain ways to make certain sounds. If we have time, we can listen. I'll find a video of somebody playing it. They do still exist, just not really much. And I'll find a video of somebody playing it so that you can hear it. Super quick.
Because there's
We have different instruments now. Yes, glass harmonicas were also, they were kind of messy because it's water. So they got water all over the place. And they're really big, they're really heavy, and they're very fragile. So we don't see them often at all. Okay, thank you, Kingston. Read next. Zari, are you able to read?
Yes.
Okay, loud and slow. Everybody finger ready to follow along.
But as popular as warmer stoves and glass harmonicas they aren't anywhere near as celebrated nowadays. As the invention Ben Franklin made as he stole the lightning.
Not as he stole the lightning, but you're still muted.
Ben made after he stole the lightning.
Good. Okay, so that's telling us, yeah, we don't really see Franklin stoves anymore, and we don't really see glass harmonicas anymore. Franklin stoves, why do we not really see them? Why do we not really see Franklin stoves anymore? Mason? We have actual heaters that do that job. We don't need stoves or fires to make heat anymore. If we do, it's mostly just because we like the way it looks or smells or whatever. We don't actually need to create fires for our warmth. We have heaters. Glass harmonicas, we already talked about why we don't see those too much anymore. So these are two inventions that were really important and really celebrated way back in Ben Franklin's time, but we don't see anything, and we don't really see them anymore. Ooh, now look at that last sentence, or the last part. They aren't anywhere near as celebrated nowadays as the invention Ben made after he stole the lightning. I see the word lightning, so what invention are we probably going to talk about next? Or what problem do you think the next invention we talk about is going to solve? Carla?
It's going to solve how Ben Franklin stopped lightning to make nail pipes.
Good. Probably. Let's find out. Victoria, please read next. And loud and slow so everyone can hear you.
Another hint about Ben's most famous invention is that it helped make life easier for everyone. His scientific ideas were helpful too and were often way ahead of their time. For example, he had a lot of ideas about health. He said that exercise.
Confidence.
He said that exercise and weightlifting help keep folks fit, but they have to work hard enough to sweat if they want to do anything.
Keep going. Loud and slow. You got a little quiet and fast at the end.
He wrote that breathing fresh air and drinking lots of water are good for you. He was the guy who said an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Ooh, that's an example of what type of figurative language. We've seen it a lot in this story. We've seen it a few times. What type of figurative language is the phrase or expression, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Zadie.
An idiot.
An idiom. Does it literally mean that if you eat one apple every day, you will not have to go to the doctor? No. But what does that expression mean? Michaela? It means if you eat healthy food, you will be more likely to stay healthy. Apples are healthy. So what it's saying is if you try to eat healthy food, you are more likely to stay healthy. Now, just because you're eating healthy food, does that mean that you will never have to go to the doctor? No, because there could be other stuff, but it'll help. Okay, read that last paragraph. Me. Everybody follow along. And before anyone ever heard of vitamin C, he wrote that oranges, limes, and grapefruit give people healthy gums and skin. Sailors soon got wind of this idea. They began eating so many limes to stop getting sick from scurvy at sea that they became known as limeys. Let's look at all this information. All this information on this page tells Ben Franklin's thoughts on health, right? Did they have the internet back then that you could look up healthy tips and healthy tricks and how to live a healthy life? No. Do you think they had many books on how to keep healthy like we do now? Probably not. Do you think that there were doctors whose sole purpose was to tell us how to eat healthy or live healthy? Probably not. Back then, people were more worried about not getting scurvy or not getting smallpox or not dying of some really bad disease. They didn't really care too much about staying fit, about doing exercise, about eating healthy. They just didn't want to starve, and they didn't want to get too tired that they couldn't work. So how do you think Ben Franklin knew these things? He didn't find the information anywhere. There weren't doctors or books or things that would tell us this information. So how do you think he may have gotten this information? Smith?
He probably tested it out on himself.
He probably tested it out on himself. He probably thought, well, maybe he didn't even think, like, I should try eating limes and see if this helps with things. He probably just ate limes and oranges and then realized, hey, I eat a lot of oranges and my teeth and gums are in really good shape, but my neighbor doesn't eat oranges and his teeth and gum are in really bad shape. And hey, that person eats a lot of limes and oranges too, and their mouth looks like mine. But all of our neighbors who don't eat oranges and limes, their mouths look really bad. I bet that means that eating oranges and limes help your gums and your teeth. And the stuff about weightlifting. He maybe didn't say, I bet if I weightlift I'll feel better. He may have tried it out one day and realized that it made him feel better than his friends and neighbors who didn't do this. So he probably discovered a lot of these things almost on accident. Because if you have no idea that oranges are good for your teeth, are you going to try to eat oranges to see if they're good for your teeth? Probably not. You're not going to put those things together until after it already happens. So not only was Benjamin Franklin a great thinker, which led to his inventions, but he also did things that led to being a great thinker. He realized things that he did without even knowing it helped in different ways. So he discovered things just by doing them and realizing what happened because he did them. Okay, turn the page and read next. Smith, loud and slow.
Didn't the man ever stop to rest? Even when he was outside, Ben kept right on experimenting. For instance, he often sailed to England and France to do business for America. As he crossed the Atlantic Ocean, he charted the Gulf Stream by taking its temperature. Once sailors knew the route of this vast, warm river in the cold ocean, they could travel between America and Europe in a shorter time than ever before.
So more things that he has discovered. Does he ever stop? No, he just keeps thinking. So do you think his brain is really good at doing what? It's what Miss Miller is trying to teach you guys, or at least I knew she did a few lessons. It's been a while. What is his brain really good at doing? Carla?
Reading?
Not necessarily reading. He didn't read anything that led to him to take the temperature of the ocean. Victoria? Making inferences, but what do you have to do to make an inference? What do you have to do in your head?
You have
Michaela?
Ask question.
Asking questions. When you ask yourself questions, you're like, well, let me think about that and find out the answer. Let me read a little further and find the answer. Let me reread what I just read to find the answer. Let me read what I just read and then think about what I know about that and put it together to come up with a new answer. You should be asking yourself questions in your head all the time. We can see Benjamin Franklin was really good at that because he asked himself, this is a problem. How can I solve it? Well, let me try this. That didn't work, so what's another way I can do this? And he asked himself questions until he came up with the one that gave him the answer he needed. Smith, keep going.
He was probably the first person to write weather forecasts, too. Once he chased a roaring whirlwind by riding over the hills and forests of Maryland just to find out how it worked.
That's pretty dangerous. But did Benjamin Franklin care? Nope. He said, I have a question. I need it answered. I don't care what happens to me while I find it. We can see a picture of him doing this on the top of page 235. Do you think this is actually what it looked like? No. This is just the artist's fun picture of what she thinks it could have looked like. Okay, thank you, Smith. Read next. Ethan, loud and slow. Louder and slower.
Ben had an old scientific trick that he would like to show people every chance he got. He used to store some oil inside a bamboo walking stick, and whenever he pulled the few drops onto the blades in a pond or lake, the water became smooth as glass.
So sometimes were all of his inventions things that were needed? Not really. But is everything we use today things that are needed? Everything we use today, do we need every single thing we use today? No. But sometimes we use things just because it's fun. Well, Benjamin Franklin realized that too, because is there any need to ever completely smooth a little part of a body of water? No. It's just an interesting thing to show people. Okay, read next. Carla, loud and slow.
Okay, right outside Nashville.
Oh, is there, Carla, are there people talking in the background?
Okay.
There's somebody talking on my phone.
Okay, we will, it's okay, I'll put you, no, it's okay. I'll put you back and we'll try again later, okay? It's like when Zari, sometimes her mom has calls that she has to be on, so we just wait because that's part of her job too. So that's okay. Well, I'll put you back and you can try again later. Aaron, loud and slow.
Meanwhile, over in Europe, people call electricians. People call
Bless you. You got it. Keep going. Nope, that's electrician. I would have stopped you if it wasn't right. Louder. Electricians. Louder, Aaron. Your voice is not. Electricians. Okay, start again.
Meanwhile, over in Europe, people call electricians.
Aaron, you got it right. Keep going.
Had started doing the same tricks of their own. One trick was to raise a boy up near to the ceiling with a bunch of silk cord. Rub his feet with the glass electric tube and make sparks shoot out of his hands and face.
Okay, Aaron, you're way too quiet. I can barely hear you, so they definitely can't hear you at all. Aaron just read the first paragraph. So hopefully you were reading the first paragraph because even if you can't hear it, you at least know we're probably going to stop before the second. Okay, they cannot hear you at all, which means the video can't hear you. You've got to be louder. I know you can be. I've heard you on the playground. I've heard all of you on the playground. From way across where I sit, from that back corner, I've heard every single one of your voices. So that means I need to hear them in here too. Okay, So nowadays, what are electricians? Nowadays, what are electricians? Mason.
They fix wires.
They fix wires. If something's going on, like you have a plug that's not working or something in your house, your parents will call an electrician. Does that sound like that's what electricians did back in Benjamin Franklin's time? No, it sounds like electricians were more like magicians. The things that they did were more like tricks and like shows. They put on shows. Electricians don't do that anymore. So that name has changed meanings over the years. Okay, read next. Cullen, loud and slow.
Another mean trick made the kings of France's king of France's laugh.
Is there an S at the end? Of France?
Oh.
Should it be France's? Slow down. Start the sentence again.
Another mean trick
Louder. Even though you're right next to it, you still have to be louder so that Mason and Victoria and Aaron can hear you.
Another mean trick made the king of France laugh so hard he couldn't hardly
Not he couldn't.
he could hardly stop. His court elect
C-I-A-N at the end of a word usually has the same sound as T-I-O-N at the end of a word. So start that sentence.
his court election
Not election. You took out a syllable.
electrician
Electrician.
had run an electric charge
Louder.
through 180 soldiers of the guard, and
Not then.
they jerked to attention faster than they ever had in their entire lives.
Keep going. Loud. Stay loud. You're getting quieter as you read. Stay loud. Like you're yelling the whole time.
But although people doing lots
You
of,
skipped a word.
although people were doing lots of tricks with electric
No. Electric. You skipped the last syllable. If an E is usually, if an E is all by itself in the syllables, it's a long sound.
electric
What is this word? C-I-T-Y. What is that word?
city
Okay. So,
electricity.
so what is that word? Read this sentence again.
But although people were doing lots of tricks with electricity, nobody had a clue about why or how it worked. So Benjamin Franklin decided to find out. He asked a British friend to send him an electricity.
Not electricity. Not, nope. You're adding extra syllables to the end. Okay, Colin. You skipped this letter.
Lee.
No, you said this right. Is that E by itself? Is there anything that would make it a long E after? So,
E. Lectris.
did you say this sound? Loud so I can hear you. E.
Lectris.
Is there anything to make this a soft C? Any vowel after? Or an E after? So is it a soft C? So try it again. E.
E.
Loud. I can't hear it so I can hear all the sounds.
E. Lectris.
We just talked about this. Is there anything at the end to make this a soft C? Like an E or a vowel? Or another vowel? No. So is it a soft C?
No.
No, which means hard C sounds like what?
K.
K, not K. 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 So,
E. Lectris.
I can't hear if you're making the sound or not. You've got to be louder. E, lec, trick. So what is this word? Electric is the word
Electric.
electric. It's only electricity if it has ITY, because this I helps to make this C a soft C. And then that's also extra syllables. But electric has no letter to make it a soft C, and there's no extra syllable. Do not ignore when this happens, because you all need it. I don't know what happened, but phonics got lost somewhere. Okay, read that sentence again. Loudly. He asked a British friend.
He asked a British friend to send him an electric tube so that he could do some experiments.
Okay? So now, Benjamin Franklin did not do the things in these first two paragraphs. It doesn't say Ben Franklin did these. Where were these things happening? Were they even happening in America where Benjamin Franklin lived? Where were they happening? Zadie? In Europe, in England, in France. Nobody knew why this was happening, though. Even the people who were doing this didn't really know why it was happening. So Ben was like, question, why is this happening? I have to find out. Michaela, read next.
In one experiment,
A little louder.
in one experiment, he had a cork.
Not he had.
He made a cork. Electric spider.
Guys, quotation marks don't mean stop. Only commas or periods or exclamation points or questions mean stop. Commas, remember, mean pause slowly. Quotation marks don't mean, they don't change the way you say it at all. They're just saying this is not the actual word for it, but this is what we call it. So when you get to quotation marks, unless there's a comma before them or a period before them, you don't stop. So start that sentence again. Don't stop when you get to quotation marks. Don't pause. Just keep reading.
In one experiment, he made a cork. Electric spider.
Did you stopped after cork? Do you hear? Listen to what this is what it sounded like. You may not have realized this. In one experiment, he made a cork. Electric spider. Did you hear the pause? Is there a comma or an end punctuation mark? So do you pause? So you just keep going. It's just saying when we have quotation marks, we don't hear it when we're speaking like we hear commas or end punctuation. It's only something we see. And all it means is this is not the actual name of this thing. This is just what we call it. Go ahead, start again. Don't stop before those quotation marks.
In one experiment, he made a cork electric spider with thread for legs. It kept leaping back and forth between a wire and an electric tube, just like it was alive.
Keep going.
Another time, he asked a lady and a gentleman to stand on some wax. One held an electric tube, the other held a wire, and when they
tried to kiss, they got shocked by all the sparks shooting between their lips.
So it looks like Benjamin Franklin also liked to do tricks with electricity. But do we know yet if he actually knew what electricity was? No, these were just more experiments he came up with. So do you think he's done with electricity? No. He hasn't solved it. What is causing this? He just knows other things that happen. Michaela, go ahead and read that last paragraph. Make sure you're really loud so that everyone can hear. I've heard you be loud before. You need to do it here too.
Ben even figured out how to light up a picture of a king in a golden frame. Anyone tried to remove the king's gold paper crown was in for a shock.
Now, in for a shock is usually an idiom. Because if you're in for a shock, does that usually, if somebody says you're in for a shock when you watch this movie, does that mean you're literally going to get shocked by electricity? No. It just means something big is going to happen that you're not going to expect. But are they using it as an idiom here? What do you think literally happened when they tried to remove the paper crown? Kingston? Can't hear you. They might get an actual electric shock because Ben Franklin had made the picture light up. What do you think he used to make it light up? Carla?
The electric tube and the wire.
Okay, electricity. Okay, let's go to the next page. Mason, please read loud and slow.
Doing all these tricks gave Ben his idea for stealing lightning out of the sky. He believed that lightning was nothing more nor less than pure electricity.
A little louder.
Now he set out to prove it.
Keep going.
First, he made a silk kite with a wire on top to attract some lightning. Next, he added the kite string tied to a piece in the bottom and knotted a silk ribbon below.
Louder.
Ben and his son William stood out of the lane inside the doorway of the shed. On the side of the field to keep from getting shocked. Ben held onto the dry silk ribbon. Then he flew his kite straight up toward a big rainforest.
So this experiment is the one we think of when we think of Ben Franklin. What has he done so far to solve this problem? There are two things that he has done so far. What was the first thing he did? Let's see. Now, it may not have happened on this page. We may have already read about it. Victoria?
He asked his British friend, and he asked the British friend for a electric tube.
So he asked people for electric items because he wanted to do what? He didn't want to do the experiments yet, but in order to do the experiments, he was trying to do something. Zadie? We do experiments to learn more, which means we do what? What is the verb that means to learn more about something? Victoria? Smith?
Study.
So, what was the very first thing Ben did? He used the experiments to help him do this. The very first thing he did was what? Smith? had an answer. What was that answer?
I was going to say study.
What did he study? He was doing all these experiments to study what? Ethan? Not just lightning, electricity. So Ben studied electricity. As he was studying electricity, he was finding out all these things that electricity could do, like making the electric spider jump from the electric tube to the, was it the silk cord? Or the thread, or the wire. He studied electricity and he discovered, oh, this can make this spider jump back and forth between the wire and the tube. And he kept studying to see, hey, if I put one person on this wax block, on this wax, and another person on this wax, and they try to touch each other, there's going to be sparks between them. The electricity is going to travel from one to the other. And then he realized, hey, if I light up this picture using electricity, somebody's going to touch it and get shocked. And he also realized that if he, what was it about the boy? Can't find it. Why can't I find it? I missed it. Okay. So after studying electricity for a little while, now he's like, okay, lightning is made of electricity because I see all the same things. I see those sparks, those flashes of light, those shocks. So his next action was to do what? He studied the electricity and now he was ready to study the lightning. So what did he do next? Zadie.
He took a kite and put tied a key to it and then
Because he was trying to do what? He used the kite with the key tied to it to do what? Mason?
Trying to steal lightning.
What's a better way we can do that? Because steal lightning, can we actually steal lightning? No, we can't. But that key on the kite was used to do what with the lightning? What does it mean when you're trying to get it closer to you? Zari?
Attract.
Good. So, Ben used a kite to attract lightning because he'd studied electricity. So now he was trying to tell people lightning is electricity, but he couldn't prove it yet. He needed the lightning to come to him. He needed the lightning to come closer to him so that he could see, is this actually electricity? Because we can look at something from far away and make a guess of what it is or what it's made of, but do we actually know before it gets closer to us? No, we just guess. We have an idea. We have a theory. Ben needed to prove his theory, so he needed the lightning to come to him. Let's figure out if he proved it or not. Yes, Victoria, quickly.
Is that why once you've been sitting on the couch and you move around it a lot, and once you stand up and you touch someone on the skin, it shocks them?
That's part of it.
Okay.
Not because of lightning, because lightning isn't in our house, but it is electricity. That causes some electricity to happen. Okay, Carla, are you able to read? You can just nod yes or no. If somebody's still on the phone, just nod no. Okay, you just do this, okay? Okay, read next. Zadie, loud and slow.
For the longest time, nothing happened. Just as Ben and William were about to give up, the hair on the wet kite string and stand
The
at
whole sentence. Oh, so yeah, start it just as Ben.
Just as Ben and William were about to give up, the hair on the wet kite string began to rise up and stand at attention. Ben put his knuckle near the key, and yikes! Out jumped a bright spark of genuine electricity.
So, what did Benjamin Franklin just prove? Ethan? What about lightning? They already knew lightning existed because they could see it. But what did Ben Franklin prove about lightning? Michaela? Not that he could steal it, because even then, did he actually steal it? Did he take it, put it somewhere so nobody else could have it? No. But he proved what about lightning? Carla?
That lightning is electricity.
Good. Does that solve the problem of lightning causing many fires? Now that he knows lightning is electricity, does that solve this problem? No. Just because we know that lightning is electricity doesn't mean we can stop it from causing fires. But do you think that that helped him to come up with the solution for lightning causing many fires? Do you think that discovering that lightning was electricity helped to come up with the solution for lightning causing many fires? I see like 2 people answering. Everybody else is just staring or pretending to do something else. Well, there's nothing else you should be doing right now, so pretending to do something else is not helpful to you. It's not going to help you get out of it. Still only saw like 3 people. I think I saw an extra person or 2. Do you think that Benjamin Franklin discovering that lightning is electricity is going to help him come up with a solution to this problem? Yes or no? Do you have an answer? Yes or no? If we know what something is, are we more likely to be able to do something about it? I don't know what's going on with you right now, but it needs to stop. You need to focus and think and not just shut down. Yes, if we know what something is and that thing is causing a problem, we are more likely to be able to fix that problem. Just because we know what it is doesn't mean we've solved the problem yet, but we're more likely to be able to solve it. So the next thing that led to his solution was that Ben proved that lightning is electricity. Okay. Zadie, go ahead and keep reading. Loud and slow.
Real lightning had traveled all the way down that kite string. Ben had stolen electric fire out of the heavens and proven that he was right.
Keep going.
Of course, now we know that if the storm had been any stronger, the great inventor would have been toast.
Would have been toast. What is that? Michaela? An idiom. If the storm had been stronger, would he have literally become a piece of toast?
No.
No. But that idiom tells us what? What does that idiom tell us? Ethan? He would have been electrocuted. He would have been dead. So luckily it wasn't. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Do we know the solution yet to our problem? Do we know the solution? Did we see, but this is what fixed this problem? No. Kingston, read next. Loud and slow. Quickly, because we don't have much time left.
Finally, here's the public story.
You're going way too fast.
Finally, here's the public
Louder.
story.
Louder. You're going at a nice pace, but now you're way too quiet. You've got to be loud enough so that even if the camera Mason's got to hear you too.
Finally, here's the part where
Here's the part of the story where Ben's practice of thinking up all those inventions came in so handy. Way back then, you remember lightning would always set fire to ships, houses, and church fires.
That's our problem.
Church fires. Even the best fire department couldn't keep
You're going
entire
too fast.
towns from going up in smoke.
You're going too fast. That was too fast. You need to read that sentence again. Use your finger because then you can't go faster than your finger. Please use your finger. The refusal to use the finger is silly. It will help you to not stumble over your words. It will help you to read slower. It will help you to be more confident. You may think it's stupid, but it's not. Please continue. Even the best.
Even the best fire department couldn't keep entire towns from getting up in smoke.
Going up in smoke.
Going up in smoke. So Ben decided to make his most famous invention of all, the lightning rod.
Okay? Go ahead, read the next paragraph, loud and slow. Use your finger.
The whole idea was to pull lightning safely out of the sky before it could do any mischief. Ben showed people how to put a pointed iron rod on the tip top of a roof or ship's mast and connect it to a wire leading all the way down under the ground or into water. Now lightning can follow a safe path without burning up a thing.
So if we look at these pictures on the top of page 238 and 239, we see the before on the left with all those fires, and we see the after where instead of the lightning striking the buildings or ships and causing fires, it's now striking the lightning rod, which allows the electricity to travel down the rod through a wire to the ground where it ends, where it stops. So has Benjamin Franklin solved the problem of lightning causing many fires? Has he solved that? How? What was his solution? Kingston.
He created a lightning rod?
He invented the lightning rod. We still use lightning rods today. If you look at really tall buildings, you'll see that they have like a post at the top, like a long bar, like a long iron bar thing at the top. That is used as a lightning rod. Because has lightning changed since Benjamin Franklin's time? No, it's a natural thing. It doesn't change. We can't do anything about it. So, can lightning still cause fires? So do we still need lightning rods to help to stop that from happening? Yes. Most houses, or taller houses, usually have lightning rods too. I don't know where they are, it just depends. Okay, let's go ahead and read the last page. I am going to read it so that we are able to get through it so that we're not super late for music. So everybody get ready to follow along on page 241. Use your finger. Do not be silly and refuse to use something that will help you. At the worst, is it hurting you? If it's not helping you, is it hurting you to use your finger? So if something can only help or do nothing, it's a better idea to do that thing. If it can hurt, then don't do it. But if it either helps or do nothing, just try it. You'll probably see that it does actually help. This simple but brilliant invention worked beautifully. It saved more lives than anyone can count and made Ben Franklin a great hero. Scientists from around the world lined up to give Ben medals and awards. But during his long life, he became much more than the master of lightning. Why, when America fought against Great Britain for the right to become a free nation, Ben convinced France to come help win the war. And when it was over, he helped convince Great Britain to sign the peace. He had helped in so many ways that the people of France honored him with a beautiful medallion. It says, "He snatched the lightning from heaven and the scepter from the tyrants." And he did. The end. So, Ben Franklin's inventions weren't the only thing that we remember him for, right? It was also his words, his actions, and what he did and how he did those things. So Ben Franklin was an all-around real important guy, right? We wouldn't have a whole lot of what we have today, including maybe the country of the United States. Because if he hadn't convinced France to come and help, and then hadn't helped to convince England to sign a peace treaty, we might still be part of England. I mean, we can't tell. We don't know for sure, but we could. The Revolutionary War would not have ended the way it did. It would have changed. So who knows how it would have ended? Maybe it'd still be going on today. I don't know. Okay, so when you get back from music, before we eat lunch, I'm going to have you read about the inventors. So go ahead, leave your reading textbook open on your desk. Go ahead and put your guided practice into the reading side of Reading and Religion. Once those things are done, stand up and push your chair in. Girls at home, you can go ahead and go to music.